Like classmates going to school and meeting each other after a weekend. Kings XI and Rajasthan Royals meet again. It was just a couple of days ago that they played that wonderful match for the Kings where Lokesh Rahul did well, Mujibur Rahman did well, and now they're playing, but they're playing somewhere else. They're playing in Jaipur, where of all the venues in India, you tend to bat first more than anywhere else. And that's exactly what the Royals have done. They've won the toss, they've batted first. But, and this is something I'm going to start off talking to Simon Doull and Joy Bhattacharya. Again, lots of changes for the Rajasthan Royals. Not that many for the Kings. Well, they've made a couple, but Rajasthan Royals, big game for them. Because if they lose today, the maximum they can reach is 14.
It seems to me, evening Harsha, Joy, that they have been searching. They've been searching since day one. I think they've been searching for the right combinations. They've been searching for their way, their form to play. Basically, I don't think they have got the gist of this IPL right from the get-go, and I don't think perhaps their strategy and their management and everything has been sorted from day one. And I think that's why they find themselves in this position.
I'm not going to talk about management and mentors with Joy because I've been down that
very strong opinions on that. Yeah, absolutely.
But Joy, you were with us when we did the auction, and I remember us saying that Rajasthan Royals look a very competitive, good side for the first 11. With their first 11, but they don't have enough replacements. We're worried about the replacements.
Yeah, but here even take that. Even their first 11 hasn't delivered for them. Stokes hasn't. Unadkat hasn't.
That's
and these are two very big.
Yeah,
these are the two most expensive players in the auction. So if those two have not delivered for you, then you're really struggling. And if you look at the money is like there's a lot of money up front, and there's a lot of other bit players below. But somewhere, I think, what it is in the IPL, it's almost like you're trying to fit a team into a sort of box and you keep moving. Some teams have just clicked and it's held on. You know that, okay, now this is the right combination. Even when Mumbai is 4 and 6, you still think, yeah, they've probably got the combination right. Rajasthan is still, you feel they're still trying to, fit that piece and it's not fitting properly.
Because on paper, they had Stokes as an all-rounder at the top and Archer as an all-rounder at the bottom. They had Butler as a great finisher. They had Rahane Tripathi had such a good season last year. It all looked very good on paper. What's gone wrong? Is it just all the chopping and changing, or is it, as Joy says, far too much money delivering far too little returns?
Well, first things first, Tripathi had a great year opening the batting last year for Rising Pune Supergiant. Remember that? They tried to bat him at 6. He should have been opening the batting right from day one. Don't pick an Australian just because he had a good big bash when you don't know whether he can play spin or not. Darcy Short's been awful, absolutely awful for them. Dot ball Darcy.
I love it.
So he has been a poor selection. Great on fast wickets in Australia, can't play spin. So they've really struggled with that. They've got nothing out of Jos Buttler until the last couple of games, and they've got absolutely nothing out of their two big key players. So there's a combination of things. I don't think Shane Warne going home for 10 days in the middle of the tournament was a good look, whether the reasons are there or not. But I don't think they've, you look at Chennai, they came back in with an identity and with a purpose and with a coaching group that was sound. Rajasthan came back in on a bit of a whim, I think.
Rajasthan team, this current Rajasthan team reminds me of the great story about the English football teams, which they always talk about. Great on paper, lousy on grass. As long as you're on paper, they're fantastic. It looks fantastic, Book cricket, fantasy cricket, fantastic. Once they come on grass, it's when they come apart.
We have similar thoughts on English football, but this is a cricket show. Yeah. We are not going down there, and we are not. You have a football club as well. You're a basketball man. Joy is more basketball than football. Now, what have Rajasthan Royals been doing? We'll talk about Kings XI, but let's look at all their travails, all the changes that they've made, all that's happened with Rajasthan Royals. Now, unchanged till game 4, they're all right. Now, suddenly, Henrik Klaasen comes in place of Darcy Short. Where does he bat? Up at the top. Not in the middle where he's demolished India, but up at the top. Then Binny for Kulkarni for Binny. Then suddenly Sodhi and Lomror in. Then suddenly Sodhi and Lomror out. Anureet Singh comes in. Dhawal Kulkarni goes out. Now today again Lomror is in. Binny is in. Sodhi is in. I mean, it's...
The strangest thing is, all this, I think what's happened is that the revolving door that's in their hotel, they put it in the dressing room instead. The same revolving door that you have.
There was this Joy Bhattacharya that I knew, who was this very sober, dignified, classy, soft-spoken. And he suddenly comes into this Cricbuzz studio and he pulls out his revolvers and he's going. Good to see. Good to see.
But the other interesting thing is, Dhaval Kulkarni actually has a fantastic record against two people, KL Rahul and Chris Gayle. He's got Chris Gayle out 3 times in the last 5 IPLs, in the last 5 times they've met, not in the last 5 IPLs. He has actually, Chris Gayle's strike rate against Dhaval Kulkarni is 112. Okay, he's got out KL Rahul 2 times in the last 5 times they've met. And these are the 2 players, this is the bowler who's not playing. And unless he's injured, they have to have a very good reason for him not to play.
When Chris Gayle writes the second edition of his book, he'll say the 2 bowlers I really struggled against were Dhaval Kulkarni and Sandeep Sharma.
Do you really think they'll get a mention?
No.
That's a great story. Dhaval Kulkarni, Sandeep Kulkarni.
It's like that old story of Tendulkar's, where Tendulkar went up to his partner and said, I'm struggling a bit against Hansi Cronje. Would you mind if I played Donald and you played Cronje? In the history of sport, a better deal has not been offered.
I tell you.
I'll play Donald and you play
Cronje.
I guess the one thing that Rajasthan did try to do right was keep the same team for the first 4 games. They felt that they'd picked the right team and they tried to get it right for those first 4 games, but it just wasn't good enough, and they didn't get enough out of those big players. So, there's a funny situation, and time comes in a season where do you make those changes, wholesale changes, and try and get it right, or do you let the guys you think were good enough at the start carry on? And they made that decision to try the changes, and from that moment on, they've kept changing.
Okay, let's see who they're playing today, because if both captains said that they thought the track would be slow, and I just wonder if it's a win the toss, bat first. So there's no Darcy Short. Sanju Samson has done all right for them. There's no Rahul Tripathi. And Shreyas Gopal is gone. So Shreyas Gopal goes out, Ish Sodhi comes in, Darcy Short goes out, Butler goes up the order, Mahipal Lomror comes in, and then Stuart Binney. So there's still no room for Dhaval Kulkarni. Jaydev Unadkat gets a game. You're right, they're just coming and going. So what's their bowling today? Anurit Singh, Jaydev Unadkat, Ish Sodhi, Jofra Archer, Krishnappa Gautam. Maybe a bit of Binney, maybe a bit of Lomror and Stokes. So they've got enough bowling options.
They've got 6-7 bowling options. I'm just beginning to wonder. The other thing is that for a team that hasn't really done well with the bat, they're making a lot of changes, and it's a fairly it looks, there are 3 all-rounders who are iffy in the middle. If you take from Ben Stokes onward, there are 3. There's Lomrod, there's Stuart Binney, there's Jofra Archer.
So Binney's going to bat 5?
Yeah, I mean, that's
it looks thin, doesn't it? It looks very thin.
Middle looks a bit thin.
They've not had great starts. So what if they don't get a great start? Binney bats 5?
Yeah, I think he has to. But I think with Butler at the top, it's a better option. It's a better look. He plays the quick bowling well, but if he can get into his innings before the spinners come on, and they'll try a spinner up front, I'm sure, in the first 6, at least one, maybe 2 overs. But if he can get into his innings in that first 6, I think he's better off than a finisher. I think he's a great finisher in 50-over cricket. In 2020 cricket, he's probably got a bat at the top.
Before Manoj Badale sends us an angry note, he's a good guy. But
Manoj is a lovely guy, but he's just got it wrong this year. I mean, and I've told him that. I told him that when I saw him in by the way, I must
tell you, what people do on flights. On flights, some people listen to music, some people read books. Simon Doull ambushes team owners and tells them what teams they must play.
I like it.
Okay, Kings XI, there is another team playing today. Now, peculiarly, Kings XI have issues of their own and are sitting pretty with 12 points. Because the changes today, they've got Akshdeep now, they've finally given up on Mayank Agarwal.
Oh, they've broken my heart. They have broken my heart.
You like Mayank Agarwal? You got him in your fantasy league.
Cinderella man, he'll give me another well-crafted 11.
A brilliant 13.
Yeah, absolutely. Not happening. I'm so sorry.
Ankit Rajput's done all right, actually, but they've gone back with Mohit Sharma. But it's an interesting side. If you look at their overall lineup, now look at the people they've struggled with. David Miller, struggle. Aaron Finch, struggle.
Yuvraj Singh.
Yuvraj Singh has struggled. He's not in the side. Mayank Agarwal. These are 4 big players who haven't done well. But I still think if you look at this side, Lokesh Rahul, Chris Gayle, Dooley, if one of them, if they get knocked over a little bit, Karun Nair has scored a few runs. Otherwise, you're struggling. It's a rare side. They've got 60% of their runs scored by the top 2.
Yeah, if you're going to win a tournament, though, 60% of your runs will come from your top 3 players.
Top 3.
Yeah, 1, 2 and 3. They've gone with top 2 so far, and they've been outstanding. I think Gayle has had a brilliant season. Chris Gayle, those first 3 games, and then he's just continued on with a little bit of that. 60% is a lot from your top 2, but you take that. And you just hope that when that time comes that they fail, then maybe a 3, 4 or 5 step up and do the job for them. But if you're winning an IPL or a T20 tournament of any description, numbers 1, 2 and 3 will get 60% of your runs.
I'm a bit surprised by, look, they said the pitch would play slower, which I can understand. Mohit Sharma is a good, proponent, bowls the slow ball very well. But dropping a bowler who's got a 5-4 for you, Ankit Rajput, I mean, beyond, barring injury, a bowler bowling with that much confidence.
Unless they've gone horses for courses, unless they think Ankit Rajput come back of the length, hit the deck, Mohit Sharma slow balls, they've already got 3 spinners in there.
But
maybe that's what they think. I mean,
yeah, but dropping a man of the match, what kind of bowler in lineup is, it's not easy. Whatever it is, I would have found a way for a guy that high on his confidence to play. Mohit Sharma maybe, but I think that's the thing about Kings. They have been innovative, interesting in their captaincy. They've been doing things differently. They've been challenging people, but whatever it is, they're getting it right.
I expected, having known Ravichandran Ashwin all these years, I expected they would be innovative. But it's come good for them because I think their backup bowling, Mujib has been excellent, Tai has been excellent, but their backup bowling has also been very good. Akshar Patel had a good game the other day. Ashwin has always been about 4 overs, 25-30 or thereabouts. He's just had one bad game. So if you look at their bowling numbers, they're almost as good as Sunrisers, who've been the bowling side of the tournament. They are, on most parameters, they're number 2 to the Sunrisers.
Yeah, and then they get a little bit out of Stoinis, don't they, when required. They've got enough guys that do a good job, and then a little bit of backup, as you say. That
you didn't bite.
No, I didn't.
I was heading with the bowlers. I said, look at the bowlers, look at the bowlers. I didn't go to Joy, I came to you. Look at Dooley now, he's beaming suddenly. When the bowlers do well, Dooley beams.
But the bowlers are doing well, and I'm loving the fact that, yes, we see some 190s, 200s, but we're also seeing low scores defended, particularly by the Sunrisers. Kings XI have been very, very good. I think they've been smart in their bowling, and I think Ashwin's worked his bowlers around very well too, which shows that he's got a good brain for the game.
I have a question to ask, which is an important question.
You're asking me or asking him?
Asking you.
1 minute. Yes. So not a quiz question.
Not a quiz question.
Okay.
Should Aaron Finch and Glenn Maxwell bother taking the flight back to India? I'm just asking you. I mean, now, in hindsight, would Aaron Finch be wondering, I might as well have gone straight
What
to
did you do in the month of March? Because you've come into April and into May firing on all cylinders.
I'm just wondering that question.
I mean, Aaron Finch has just been named captain of Australia's T20 side. Right? That's how highly they rate him. Ashwin said at the toss that when Finch came in, he said he's a world-class player and he slots in straight away. And in 2 balls, he got 2 dismissals up front. Maxwell is a different issue though. Maxwell is actually, if you look through Maxwell's numbers, he's not been a great IPL player. He's been great when the IPL's been in Dubai.
Yeah, he's a great IPL Dubai player. He's an NRI IPL player.
So pick him next year.
Pick him next year.
Pick him next year. We don't know when the elections
But that's another situation, isn't it? You're looking at guys who continually get big money and just underperform. And Maxwell is one of those guys. He's averaging 19 and a half, maybe 20, over 60 IPL games in India with just 2 half centuries, maybe 3 half centuries in India. And 6 in total. 3 of those were in Dubai.
And no mortgage.
And these overpaid batsmen.
No mortgage.
Overpaid batsmen.
Oh, yeah.
That's your problem.
That's it. That's the issue. Overpaid batsmen. Overpaid Australians is my issue.
Overpaid Australians. I like it.
There is a big divide. There's a big divide. There's one other thing that the Kings XI have in common with the Sunrisers. The Sunrisers bowling hinges around which 4 overs Rashid Khan bowls. And we didn't quite realize it at the start, but I think more and more the Kings XI bowling is revolving around how little Mujib bowls. And I'm fascinated by Mujibur Rahman because he reminds me so much of school bowlers. You know, they can only bowl, they bat a little bit and they can't field. Mujib cannot field. Mujib cannot field. But he's bowling so well. He's bowling so well that he's covering up for everything else. And it's been fantastic. Look, he's got 12 wickets. Economy 6.85. And the only problem with Mujib bowling well, or rather, good thing with Mujib bowling well with late night matches is the presentation ends very quickly. Because he doesn't come to the presentation.
He doesn't come and talk. But I mean, for a guy who's 19, 20, 21, whatever, I mean, you know, that is brilliant. Those are incredibly good numbers. And the economy rate is outstanding. He's been asked to bowl in the first 6 overs on occasions. He's been asked to bowl at the back end of the innings on occasions. So, again, I say Ashwin has used him well. He's obviously got supreme confidence in the young man. And you think that after 2, 3, 4 games, and we do it on television, don't we? We show his wronging, we slow it down, we use Hawkeye, we use every possible bit of super slow-mo camera to help the batsman out. They're still not reading it. Still not picking it.
I think what they're also doing is they're giving their sides wickets in the middle overs, which is such a big part of T20 cricket. Yeah. So Rashid and Mujib are giving them wickets. The larger issue, though, because we have to look beyond the IPL, right? Larger issue is turning track in Bangalore 130 to chase for India, 150 in the fourth innings, and Rashid and Mujib with the ball.
That'll be fantastic to watch. It'll be amazing. Of course, the fielding might not be the greatest. You see, the problem is it's a mountainous country. They're used to balls rolling down hillsides, so they're not really. Fielding is difficult to practice in Afghanistan. That's basically the.
So you're saying you can't sort of run uphill, pick and throw, and
they don't get enough practice. That's my theory.
It's something he can work on, though. He has to work on it, and they, Afghanistan have to try and help him out. Rashid's a brilliant fielder. Rashid charges around the boundary. He'll have a lot to do with Mujib, I think, moving forward. Mohammed Nabi, he certainly asks a lot of his team, of his players, and he's a very, very good fielder as well.
And apparently the bowler that Rajasthan Royals missed was also a young Afghan kid called Zahir Khan. And that's how Ish Sodhi came back in.
Yeah.
So he's a Chinaman bowler.
He's another one as well.
They're producing all these all these bowlers from there.
It's just wonderful, magical, mystical. Coming from that part of the world, and just the only thing is if their batsmen hold up, you'll have 4 days.
I now know why Joy likes it so much. One of the great stories in Bengal is of someone who came from Afghanistan bearing dry fruits into Kolkata.
The
Kabuliwala and that immortal song sung by Manna Dey. The Bengalis have to have a link with their Kabuliwalas.
Absolutely, Afghanistan. And they come back every 20 years and they suddenly produce for you and then they go away.
I'm not sure that pitch at Bangalore will be turning either.
No, it won't.
I think it'll be green. I think it'll be fairly green, just quietly.
It's an interesting one, actually. What do we make of India's team that's been picked for the test match? There's two separate issues to discuss. Virat Kohli, should Virat Kohli be playing for India? Should he look at a larger objective, which is to do well in England and go and play in England and miss the test match? But other than Kohli, everybody has been picked. I know Bhuvneshwar and Bumrah, and I want to ask you about Bhuvneshwar and Bumrah first. Would India almost be better off with Bhuvneshwar and Bumrah maybe playing somewhere in England if they can get a gig? They're not on the India A squad. But are you okay with Bhuvneshwar and Bumrah missing?
Well, Bhuvi in particular, yes, because he hasn't had a lot of overs under his belt as far as after his injury. I think he needs some time. Bumrah's had a good tour of South Africa. He's had a lot of 2020 cricket, so he probably just needs some red ball practice and get some overs under his belt. In the nets is fine to do that. If he could find some time in England to play some longer form cricket, I think that would certainly help. I don't think that is a major issue for mine as far as the fast bowling
because
stocks
you've got the other
are concerned. You've got plenty.
Shami.
There's plenty of fast bowling stocks around, and the primary concern I think will be Bhuvneshwar Kumar 100% fit for England. If he's 100% fit in England, he I think is as good a bowler as India can send in England conditions.
So that leaves the question of Virat Kohli. I knew that Virat Kohli had said that he wanted to play, but I was hoping that the schedules would permit a little week to be carved out. Take a flight, come in on the 13th, play the test match, go back and play. But that's not to be. So Ajinkya Rahane is captain. Did a fantastic job as captain in the test match against Australia. But I'm happy to see that all the Ashwins, the Pujaras, everybody's in. KL Rahul comes back in. Fantastic. Maybe Rahul will get Kohli's spot.
He'll get Kohli's spot, and it's fantastic for practice. Also, they're taking it seriously. They're putting up their best team, and other than that, and they've not. They're also. It wouldn't be great to see just a 5-6 players of the national squad playing with the rest of them sort of resting off. So they're giving them the respect, and I think they deserve it. I think Afghanistan has done enough to deserve a really full strength India side against them.
My concern is with the teams that are going to England. We looked at the T20 side. Look at the ODI squad. I look at that ODI squad, and I say, which of the batsmen is chipping in with the ball? Which of the bowlers is chipping in with the bat? And the answer to those is a null set. The bowlers don't bat and the batsmen don't bowl, apart from Hardik Pandya. So I'm a little worried about that balance going into a World Cup here.
Yeah, I wonder what they're doing, what the theory is. Is it just for this tour? And are the players that are on the A tour, are they trying to force selection for the World Cup squad? Because that exactly is my worry as well. Now, if I'm picking a World Cup squad right now, I probably don't have Ajinkya Rahane in my World Cup squad, and I don't have Dinesh Karthik.
That's an interesting one.
In my World Cup squad, because you need a batsman or guys who can bowl a little bit in that squad. I'm probably leaving Kuldeep out as well, and I've got to bring Krunal Pandya in, because he's going to offer me some batting. And if you're going to have Dhoni at 5, Hardik Pandya at 6, you need a Krunal Pandya, I think, at 7 to offer you some batting as well as your spin bowling. They're leaving Jadeja out, they're leaving Ashwin out. So they're obviously not looking at those guys as one-day players at the moment. I think you need some batting, and you need someone in that 6th position who bats and bowls, and you've got to have at least 6 options with the ball.
So you know what's happened? They've got the three bowlers who have risen in the last 12 to 18 months in one-day cricket, or rather strengthened their place in one-day cricket, are Kuldeep Yadav, Yajwendra Chahal, Jasprit Bumrah. Now, neither of those is batting at 8.
None of them. They should all bat at 11 if possible.
Now, Bhuvneshwar at 8. Who is 7?
7 at the moment.
So otherwise, you get Hardik Pandya batting at 7, which means you've got 5 bowlers, each of whom bowls 10 overs, but there is no support. One gets hit, one gets injured. Virat Kohli is looking around and putting himself on to bowl.
Absolutely. And that's...
Or Dhoni.
The other thing is, it's probably counterintuitive to what India is doing all these years, but I think if you're looking at 2019, really for balance, and Ashwin would have been a really useful player in English conditions. He may not be anywhere else, but he would be a really useful player because he can bat.
One game in the Champions Trophy seems to have cost him a lot.
It seems that Washington Sunder's taken that spot, hasn't he? I mean, he's now the off spinner, the batting, the batting sort of, I guess, 7, 8, but he's untested at that level. So, I mean, again, I'll go back to these young kids. If you want to win a World Cup, I think in India, you've got enough experience. In England, you've got enough experience in Kohli, in Dhoni, in Shikhar Dhawan, in Rohit Sharma towards the top. Rishabh Pant, Sanju Samson.
Exactly, they add that.
They're the guys. They're the two guys that I would be having in that squad. I talk about the batsmen I'm leaving out in Karthik and Ajinkya Rahane, but those are the two kids, and I say kids because they're a lot younger than me, and I've got a son older than them. They are the two young men that I would have in that squad, leading for. Yeah, absolutely. Shreyas is there, no problem at all with that. Those 3 guys are the ones I would be looking forward. 2 of them are only going to make the team batting at sort of 4 and 5, I think, unless you have Dhoni at 5.
None of them bowl. And that's the big issue. None of them bowl. And I see Krunal Pandya, therefore, look at him on that India A tour very carefully. Because if he can keep his fitness, so far he's had major fitness issues, if he can keep his fitness. But the selectors have been watching the IPL. So you might look at some of the sides and say, have they? Because Manish Pandey stays in the T20 squad, not in the 50 over squad. Rishabh Pant doesn't get into some of the bigger sides, gets into India A. But they've been watching it for Ambati Rayudu. I think he's knocked the door down. He hasn't just sort of tapped on it, he's knocked the door down. And Siddharth Kaul. So you tell me about Rayudu, you tell me about Kaul.
So about Rayudu, I just want to say his last 5 innings, his lowest score in his last 5 ODI innings was 41, if I'm not mistaken. A century among them. Might have been at Zimbabwe, but they were international runs. This man has a batting average of plus 50 in one-day international cricket. I mean, really, honestly, if he had to be dropped, he's done nothing to get dropped. He's got that chance back again, and at this point in time, he deserves a chance. He's done enough to get it, and I think, there's a lot of players who, you work on perceptions. Rayudu's just not seem to be perceived, at least. So it's fantastic. I think MSK Prasad comes from around the same part of the world, from AP. He knows Rayudu, he's seen Rayudu, and I'm glad he's been picked.
The other thing I like about that selection is they're telling people who are in their early 30s, it doesn't matter, we still got time for you, the door's not shut on you.
It's the Matthew Hayden effect,
Siddharth Kaul?
Well, he's again knocked the door down. I think he's bowled brilliantly up front. He's got the knuckleball, he's perfected that. You look at his numbers from this IPL, economy bowling at the front and at the death, and that 19th over last night
was brilliant.
Absolutely outstanding. I think they needed
19 off 2, and he bowled a 7-run over.
And he went for 7, and he gave Bhuvi 12 runs to play with, which was fantastic. Exactly what they needed.
Spot on. It is a combination. The bowler bowling number 19 is charged with the responsibility of giving 20 runs in the bank.
Yeah. So he's got, swing the ball a little bit up front if he wants, if he tries to, if he wants to. He's got a good bouncer, so he's got enough pace to upset a batsman at the top order. He's got knuckleballs, he's got variety at the back end, and he's got a headband. I love him.
I love the headband. When he started off in IPL, he came in 2008, he was in the Kolkata Knight Riders. He was just primarily an outswing bowler.
Everything that has ever happened in the IPL traces its origins back to...
It's not my fault that he played for KKR.
Riders.
He used to play for the Kolkata Knight Riders.
They're playing Mumbai Indians tomorrow in the
2008. So he's how old is he?
So he's 27,
27, okay.
He was
a young man then.
He was in the under-19 World Cup.
I don't know if he's 27, a little younger maybe, because he said something to me recently. No, that was Sunday. Yeah, he's about 26, 27.
No, he's about 28 and a half, 29. He was 18 and a half when he played that 2008 World Cup, under-19 World Cup.
Okay.
He bowled the final over, if I'm not mistaken.
27.
But I like him. He's just another crop, another one of the crop that India are producing now as far as quick bowlers are concerned. And the IPL has certainly helped. And I think the state of the pitches in India at times, and Ranji Trophy has certainly helped the fact that guys want to bowl fast. And
Interestingly,
that's
on
really good.
On Cricbuzz, I did these interviews, and you'll see them shortly, with both Sandeep Sharma and Siddharth Kaul. And they said, and Siddharth Kaul especially said, we've been playing so much domestic cricket, we understand Indian pitches very well, and we know the bowlers we are bowling to. But it's a great time to be Siddharth Kaul. Congratulations to Siddharth Kaul and to Ambati Rayudu. And I'm really looking forward to seeing that Test match squad for the England tour. But today is about Kings XI and Rajasthan Royals. Just remember, Kings XI win. They're starting to nudge the playoffs. Rajasthan Royals lose. We've got a third team that cannot reach 16. Something tells me we've got a 14-point winner this year, but we'll wait and see, which leaves us enough time for the joy factor.
And in your honor, the question comes from the city of Hyderabad.
Oh, it's got to be a very distinguished question. Chalo bol do
Yes, yes. So Hyderabad-born Mohammad Azharuddin captained the country for 47 tests between 89 and 99, leading India to victory in 14 tests. Before him, who was the last Hyderabad-born cricketer to captain his country?
Okay, last Hyderabad-born cricketer to captain his country before Mohammad Azharuddin. I'll give you just one hint. Joy likes twists. There you are. Okay.
That tells me.
No.
I've got an answer. I've got an answer. I like it. Yeah, I like it.
Little red table, red table.
I like it.
Someone from abroad is saying, are you going to pay the freight for sending the red table across? No chance. Gaurav Kapoor is going to collect all of them and put them in his pocket. We're waiting for Gaurav to come back. So there you are, Kings XI versus Rajasthan Royals. We hope you have a great game. We'll come back in the mid-innings.